Hello everyone, welcome back to our review channel. Today, I will bring to you a movie that has been causing a storm on the screen recently. When we think of Korea, we think of tall, slender girls with beautiful, radiant faces. But the female lead of this movie is entirely different. The movie Mask Girl depicts a ruthless and harsh world through the eyes of a crocodile girl. The mask she wears during live streams is a metaphor for a society that values appearance. During one live stream, the female lead encounters a horrifying incident that changes her life completely. What happened to her? Let's start unveiling this truth together. People say the heavens don't give everyone everything or take everything from anyone. If it gives you this, it will take away something else. The woman with the fiery body wears a mask and dances seductively in front of the live stream camera. No one could have guessed that behind that mask was a very ordinary face, if not ugly. Because of her ugly face, she was ridiculed by countless men, some even showed disdain. This girl's name is Kim Momi. Since childhood, Momi dreamed of becoming a famous singer, dancing and singing on a bright stage. But her ugly face was always an obstacle, making her dream seem farther and farther away. Her very ordinary appearance was in stark contrast to her beautiful name. Wherever Momi went, people mocked and laughed at her. Poverty brings contempt, and ugliness brings scorn, it's true. Though over 20, Momi still could not give up her burning passion. Although Momi is currently just an ordinary office worker living a dull life, she always longed for the stage lights and the thunderous applause from the audience. Because her ugly face prevented Momi from becoming famous in real life, she decided to conquer the virtual world. After taking off her somewhat stiff office clothes, Momi put on sexy outfits and her signature mask. She danced and sang wildly in front of the live stream camera under the nickname Mask Girl. From then on, Momi lived two completely opposite lives. By day, Momi was a simple office worker. By night, she wore sexy outfits and her familiar mask, dancing and singing for her fans. Though her face was not beautiful, Momi's body was nothing short of amazing. Thanks to the mask, Momi confidently danced wildly without caring about others' opinions. Moreover, Momi was extremely knowledgeable about men. She constantly changed her ways to cleverly showcase her perfect curves and small waist that many girls dreamed of. Gradually, countless men flocked to her like flies. All were attracted by her seductive dance and the mysterious aura Momi exuded. With each live stream, she received a lot of donations from fans. In a short time, Momi became the most famous beauty on the livestream app. In everyday life, when she took off the mask, Momi was an ugly duckling whom everyone despised. Every day she squeezed onto the crowded subway. At the office, she endured her male colleagues flattering her pretty coworker. Like everyone else, Momi also had a close female colleague. Looks-wise, they were evenly matched, each unwilling to concede to the other. During working hours, they often gossiped about their other colleagues. Momi also had a crush. Since joining the company, she had fallen for Manager Park. In Momi's eyes, Manager Park was a perfect design, an epitome that women loved. He had a handsome appearance, a courteous demeanor, and was highly competent at work. Perhaps the only flaw of Manager Park was that he was married. Sadly, Manager Park was like any other man. He had never valued Momi at all. He even scolded her harshly in front of other colleagues. Although very sad, Momi remained devoted to Manager Park. It's true that no one is rational in love. After work, Momi's entire office went out for drinks. During the meal, male colleagues repeatedly asked the beautiful secretary to pour wine. Momi sat on the side, feeling uncomfortable due to the cold treatment. She felt even more awkward when a male colleague mentioned the live streaming app. Hearing the colleague mention that Mask Girl was recently hot on the live stream app, Momi promptly spit out her mouthful of wine. After eating and drinking, some male colleagues still wanted to linger with the pretty secretary, Ariam. Momi knew that if she stayed, she would only be a burden, so she wisely excused herself and left early. Manager Park, having a family, also couldn't join for the second round. Momi gathered all her courage and asked Manager Park if he could give her a ride. In the car, Manager Park suddenly received a phone call from his wife. Oddly enough, Manager Park lied to his wife, saying he was alone. He didn't want to tell his wife that he was with Momi. Momi's delusions of grandeur flared up. She laughed wildly the whole way home. She even thought of names for their future children. Could it be that Manager Park secretly had feelings for her? Thinking about this, Momi felt both happy and incredulous. After coming home, Momi live-streamed to ask her fans for opinions. Some said Manager Park just wanted to have fun and would later deny responsibility. Others said Momi was delusional. Anyone who said she was delusional or didn't agree with her, Momi would immediately block them. "You have to agree with me, or I'll block you all." The next day at work, Momi kept sneaking glances at the handsome Manager Park. At that moment, Manager Park was scolding the pretty secretary Ariam for having a bad attitude at work. In Momi's eyes, Ariam was nothing but a vixen seducing men. Seeing Ariam getting scolded by the boss made Momi secretly happy. But in the evening before leaving work, Momi still sweetly consoled Ariam. Not long after, Momi realized she had forgotten her subway card at the office. When Momi returned to the office to retrieve her card, she was shocked to see Manager Park and Ariam being intimate with each other. Indeed, all men have a lecherous nature. Manager Park was not the perfect man Momi had imagined. In reality, he was an expert at playing with the feelings of innocent girls. Moreover, Manager Park was a narcissist who constantly showed off his six-pack abs online. At that moment, Momi's heart shattered into pieces. It turned out that all men in this world only liked beautiful women. That night, Momi cried her heart out. She decided to drink to drown her sorrows, but the more she drank, the sadder she became. In her drunken state, she did something she would probably never forget. While drunk, Momi stripped naked and danced wildly in front of the live stream camera. Needless to say, her live stream that night was incredibly lively, and her fans either shared or screenshot this moment. No one wanted to miss such a hot moment. The next morning, waking up to find herself naked, Momi hurriedly checked the comments from the previous night's live stream. At that moment, she immediately realized what had happened. Remembering her foolish actions from the day before, Momi wished she could gouge her own eyes out. Regretful as she was, after calming down, Momi blamed everything on Ariam. The next day, Momi immediately spread rumors about the affair between Ariam and Manager Park to the office gossipers. Needless to say, Momi's colleagues loved to gossip. In just a few seconds, the news had spread throughout the company, and Manager Park and Ariam quickly became the targets of everyone's criticism. Eventually, the two were summoned by the leadership for a serious talk. That evening, Momi saw Manager Park drunk and staggering through the crowded streets. Momi worriedly ran over to take Manager Park home, but instead took him to a motel. She then tried her best to undress him. In his drunken state, Manager Park hugged Momi tightly. Seeing the man she had secretly loved for so long, Momi immediately had dark thoughts. Taking advantage of Manager Park's drunkenness, Momi deceived him. The next morning, when Manager Park woke up, he saw Momi naked beside him. He was terrified and quickly dressed and fled. After a night with Manager Park, Momi couldn't help but feel anxious. But the worst was yet to come. Upon opening her computer, Momi received a threatening email from an anonymous sender. The email contained a photo of her naked, dancing, with the caption, "I know who you are." Momi was shocked to the core upon seeing the photo. She was terrified and suspicious of everyone around her. On the subway home, a man accidentally bumped into Momi. Momi thought the man was deliberately harassing her and dragged him to the police station. She suspected this person was the anonymous sender of the threatening email. The man insisted he didn't harass Momi because she was too unattractive. The police advised them to settle the matter peacefully. Since there was no concrete evidence, Momi had to let it go. On her way home, Momi received a message from Manager Park. He apologized to Momi, but said he couldn't remember what happened that night. Even if something did happen, it was just an unintended accident. After her naked live stream, Momi's account was suspended for violating community standards, leaving her feeling incredibly lonely and empty. In her despair, Momi contacted a dedicated fan who had always sent her lavish gifts. She informed him that she would no longer be live streaming. The fan was very worried about Momi. He advised her not to be sad, saying there was no reason to be sad. He said, "Being sad is only temporary, no rain lasts forever." He also complimented her on having a very attractive body. He told her she shouldn't stop live streaming because of one bad man. Momi was surprised to find out that a frequent donor to her was actually her colleague. Indeed, he was right under her nose. His real name was Onam, and he had a tragic life not much different from Momi's. Due to his unattractive appearance, Onam had been bullied by his peers from a young age. The more he endured, the more his peers mocked him. Gradually, Onam avoided everyone. Living a reclusive life without friends, Onam developed social anxiety. Except for work, he stayed home watching anime. The only friend he considered real was a beautiful, lifelike doll. His social anxiety made it impossible for Onam to look women in the eye. As a result, admiring women's hands became a peculiar passion for him. Additionally, Onam was a fervent fan of the masked girl. One day, he noticed the masked girl had two symmetrical moles on her hands and unusually beautiful nails. Everything seemed normal until he saw that Momi had the same distinctive features. Since discovering the true identity of the masked girl, Momi became extremely special to Onam. He even realized he had fallen for Momi without knowing it. In Onam's dreamy thoughts, he and Momi had become a romantic couple like in fairy tales. Since that day, Onam never missed any of Momi's live streams. Not only did he blindly defend Momi, but he also generously sent her expensive gifts. Despite being infatuated with Momi, Onam still didn't dare to approach her at work. In fact, he was also present at the company party. Seeing Momi get into a car with Manager Park drove him crazy with jealousy. After returning home, Momi live-streamed, asking her fans if Manager Park had any ill intentions toward her. Hearing this, Onam was filled with jealousy. That night, when Momi returned to the company and found Manager Park having an affair with Ariam, Onam was also there. Upon hearing that Manager Park was secretly involved with Ariam, Onam felt a sense of joy. He thought Momi would give up, but that night on her live stream, she danced and stripped while intoxicated. The next morning, Onam went to Momi's workplace to confess his feelings. Unexpectedly, Momi reciprocated his feelings immediately. They even shared their affection in front of their colleagues. But in a flash, Onam realized it was just his delusional dream. From that moment, Onam began planning to confess to Momi. He went online to find various ways to confess to her. But every time he tried, he lacked the courage to do it. That night, Onam witnessed Momi taking a drunk Manager Park to a motel. At that moment, his heart broke a little. The next day, Onam sent Momi an anonymous letter. The letter contained images of Momi stripping and dancing during her live stream. But Momi couldn't believe that the person who knew she was the masked girl was the colleague next to her. Onam initially decided to give up on his feelings for Momi. However, a few days later, Momi started confiding in her biggest fan, Onam, unexpectedly. During their conversation, Onam continuously encouraged Momi to stay positive and cheerful. In her despair, Momi expressed her desire to meet him just once. She hoped someone would volunteer to help her face life storms. But before Onam could respond, Momi told him shocking news. A fan named Sue Handsome had invited her out for drinks to cheer up. That night, Momi dressed up and met Sue Handsome at the designated spot. To avoid mockery, Momi wore a mask and sunglasses, covering her whole face. While they talked, Momi constantly tried to hide her somewhat less attractive face. After some coaxing and threats from Sue Handsome, Momi finally took off her mask and sunglasses. Contrary to her fears, Sue Handsome did not laugh at her but complimented her hidden beauty. Sue Handsome said he grew up in America and knew that girls with single eyelids and high cheekbones like Momi were very much the taste of Western guys. In other words, Momi had a Western-style beauty that no other Korean girl could match. Hearing this, Momi was overjoyed. For the first time in her life, she was being complimented by the opposite sex as being pretty and adorable. Momi had no idea that Sue Handsome was actually a complete scoundrel. What Sue Handsome said was only partly true, the rest were all lies. At this time, Onam discovered that Sue Handsome had posted online about dating the masked girl. Surprisingly, while praising Momi's hidden beauty in person, Sue Handsome mocked her online as uglier than an alligator. Even though the masked girl was terribly ugly, her body was flawless. So, he wanted to toy with her a bit before ghosting her. Seeing such disgusting comments from Sue Handsome, Onam was fuming with anger. He tried every way to contact Momi to prevent her from being deceived. But at that moment, Momi was immersed in Sue Handsome's sweet talk and didn't pick up her phone. When Onam hurriedly took a taxi to find her, Sue Handsome had already taken Momi to a motel. Sue Handsome's words were sweet as honey, and Momi was like a bee. Sue Handsome promised only to talk and drink with Momi at the motel without going too far. From the beginning, Momi felt that it was entirely wrong for an unmarried man and woman to rent a room together at a motel. She planned to leave immediately after refusing him. But unexpectedly, Sue Handsome began to touch Momi inappropriately. He even mocked her for being arrogant despite her ugliness. When sweet talk failed and mocking didn't work, Sue Handsome decided to act like a thug. In anger, Momi and Sue Handsome started fighting. During the struggle, Sue Handsome accidentally hit his head on the table and passed out. Seeing the strange man lying unconscious in a pool of blood, Momi panicked. She intended to call an ambulance but saw numerous missed calls and messages from Onam. After some hesitation, Momi decided to call Onam for help. Not long after, Onam hurried to the scene. Seeing the horrifying scene before him, Onam was as panicked as Momi. But wanting to protect his dream girl, Onam told Momi to leave first. He would handle everything by himself. After Momi left, Onam took out his tools to deal with the body. As Onam was taking off Sue Handsome's clothes, he suddenly woke up. In a moment of panic, Onam stabbed the scumbag in the chest multiple times, killing him instantly. The next morning, Onam went to work as if nothing had happened. But Momi did not come to work. Her superior announced that Momi had resigned. Momi's live stream channel was still banned for violating community guidelines. Onam rushed to the HR department to find an excuse to get Momi's address. But when he arrived, he rang the doorbell, but no one answered. That night, Momi suddenly started a live stream. She announced that it would be her final live stream before retiring. Knowing that Momi was still at her place, Onam rushed to find her. This time, Momi opened the door for him. After entering, Onam continuously advised Momi not to care about scumbags like Sue Handsome. Unexpectedly, Momi exposed the truth about Onam. She confirmed that Onam was the hardcore fan who sent her the anonymous email. Listening to Onam, Momi could only smile bitterly. Momi was determined to forget her cheap past and start a new life. Of course, she wanted to forget Onam too. To Momi, Onam was no different from Sue Handsome. Hearing this, Onam angrily pushed her onto the bed and started to assault her. At this point, Momi kept begging Onam to stop. Just then, Onam noticed something odd about Momi's eyes. Removing her mask, Onam was shocked to discover that Momi had undergone plastic surgery. However, it was too late for shock. Momi unexpectedly sent the man who kept claiming to protect her to his final rest. As Onam departed to the afterlife, the mask Momi used to wear seemed to shed tears of blood. After Onam's disappearance, his mother Kanga, with her maternal instincts, felt increasingly uneasy. Kanga was born into a poor family, so for her, love was something very luxurious. After 3 years of marriage, her husband left her for another woman. Since that day, Kanga has worked tirelessly to earn money to raise her son. She placed all her hopes on Onam, wishing he would achieve great success. Kanga hoped Onam would get into medical school, become a great doctor, and marry a gentle, virtuous woman. However, raising a child was not easy. Kanga was so busy earning money that she did not realize her son was often bullied at school. As he grew up, Onam was completely different from Kyanga's expectations. He not only failed to get into medical school but also never had a romantic relationship. What disappointed Kanga more was that after working for a while, Onam asked to move out on his own. Moreover, whenever Kanga visited, Onam would drive her away like chasing away a ghost. Kanga was furious for a long time and did not care about her son Onam. When she finally softened and called him, she found out that Onam seemed to have disappeared. The police and Kanga immediately went to Onam's place to check. When they arrived, they not only found a life-size doll but also discovered a dismembered body in the fridge. Kanga was so horrified that she fainted on the spot. After examining the body, the police reported that the body in the fridge was that of a man, but it was not Onam. Hearing this, Kanga breathed a sigh of relief. But this meant that Onam was the one who killed the man and hid the body in the fridge. Kanga angrily chased the police out of her house. She insisted that her innocent son could never be so cruel. Her son was well behaved at home, but he rarely stayed at home. The police promptly went to Onam's workplace to investigate. After investigating, HR informed the police that Onam had requested Momi's address before his disappearance. Momi's friends also mentioned that there was a time when Momi complained about Onam staring at her, making her uncomfortable. As a result, the police shifted their suspicion to Momi. When the police went to Momi's house to investigate, she had already left. The landlord said Momi had plastic surgery. At this time, the entire internet was buzzing about the case. In Onam's room, they found numerous explicit videos and adult toys. A cosmetic expert stated that Onam was a pervert with twisted and deviant thoughts, who intimidated women. Hearing such analysis, Kanga felt furious and crazy. She decided to seek justice for her son herself. To find her son, Kanga began to learn how to use computers and the confusing slang of today's youth. Then, she withdrew all the money she had saved up her whole life. Onam's computer wallpaper was Mask Girl. After learning to use the computer, Kanga immediately immersed herself in Mask Girl's fan club. On the forum, Mask Girl's fans had someone reveal her real identity. That person also posted the real face of Momi on the forum. It was so cruel. With a mother's intuition, Kanga felt that this woman was definitely related to Onam's sudden disappearance. Kanga immediately contacted the admin Teddy of the Mask Girl fan group. Teddy revealed some hot information to her. A few days ago, he accidentally recorded a video of a female salesperson at a shopping center dancing. Although this girl's face was different from Momi's, her body and dance moves were very similar. Teddy suspected that this might be Momi after plastic surgery. However, he didn't dare to confirm it, because the saleswoman's breasts were implants while Momi's were 100% real. Hearing this, Kanga felt a bit disappointed. That night, she received an emergency call from the police. The police had found Onam's dismembered body. A mountain climbing team found his body hidden in a suitcase. Just by looking at it briefly, Kanga immediately confirmed that the person in front of her was her beloved son Onam. From that moment on, Kyanga's purpose of finding her son changed to seeking revenge for him. Both the police and Kanga affirmed that the main suspect in this case was Momi. Kanga immediately went to Momi's hometown to ask her mother to hand over her daughter. Who knew Momi's mother had been estranged from her daughter for a long time? She was completely indifferent to her ugly daughter's life or death. No matter how much Kanga screamed and smashed things, she refused to open the door. Teddy hasn't had any more clues about Momi lately. Desperate, Kanga reluctantly sought a fortune teller's advice on finding Momi. After receiving a considerable amount of money, the fortune teller immediately told Kanga where Momi was hiding. Coincidentally, the place the fortune teller pointed out was the same one Teddy mentioned earlier. It was where a beautiful saleswoman with a body similar to Momi's was dancing to the music. Kanga immediately followed the marketing employee to a nightclub. The nightclub staff confirmed the marketing employee was indeed one of their staff, but Kanga was too old to be allowed inside. That night, Kyungja dreamed of Onam being killed by the masked girl, but she felt powerless to do anything. Upon waking from the dream, Kyungja was determined to find the masked girl. She wanted to use her old hands to seek revenge for her son. The next morning, she followed the marketing employee to a hair salon. There, she noticed the girl wearing a necklace that looked very familiar, but she couldn't remember where she had seen it before. Upon returning home, Kyungja accessed Onam's hard drive to check a series of files. She found that the necklace the masked girl wore was similar to one she had seen in the morning. At this point, Kyungja was 90% sure that the marketing employee was Momi. To execute her revenge plan, Kyungja decided to become a taxi driver. She then bought a heavy-duty gun at a high price from the black market. After preparing everything perfectly, Kyungja went to wait outside the nightclub. After a hard night's work, the marketing employee didn't suspect anything as she got into Kyungja's car. Taking advantage of her distraction, Kyungja knocked her out and took her to a deserted place. But the marketing employee didn't understand why she was being kidnapped. After seeing a picture of Onam, the girl became even more confused. But Kyungja was still convinced that the girl in front of her was the masked girl. To confirm, she put a mask on the girl's face. Then Kyungja pulled out her gun and aimed it at the girl, ready to shoot. To make the girl die willingly, Kyungja mentioned the necklace she was wearing, identical to the one in the photo. Hearing this, the girl laughed as if she had struck gold. Did she know who Momi really was? Through the girl's story, the relationship between her and Momi gradually unfolded. This girl's name was Chanae. Similar to Momi before plastic surgery, Chanae was just an ordinary-looking girl. Because of her unremarkable appearance, Chanae always felt insecure. As a teenager, Chanae secretly admired her handsome classmate, Buyong. Buyong was a handsome student with a warm and gentle personality. He was a popular music group trainee, attracting many female admirers. Therefore, Chanae could only keep her feelings for Buyong hidden in her heart. One day, while Chanae worked at a convenience store, Buyong came by to buy something. Chanae was surprised when Buyong initiated a conversation with her. Although Buyong's real intention was to have Chanae sell him cigarettes and alcohol, Chanae couldn't differentiate between right and wrong when she fell for him. Not long after, Buyong unexpectedly invited Chanae to his birthday party. Needless to say, Chanae was overjoyed. At the birthday party, Chanae was shocked to learn Buyong invited her to borrow money. Although the amount Buyong borrowed was not small, with a few sweet words, Chanae obediently lent him the money. Dying for a handsome guy is not a wrong death, indeed. Since then, Buyong frequently borrowed money from Chanae. Although she knew lending to Buyong meant losing money, Chanae didn't care. As long as Buyong was happy, she was willing to sacrifice everything she had. After that, Buyong debuted as a member of a wildly popular boy band. After his debut, Buyong received even more attention from women. One day, after a performance, Buyong ignored Chanae calling out to him. Instead, he pretended not to know her. That night, Chanae braved the wind and rain to deliver a gift to Buyong's door. But fate had it that she overheard a conversation between him and his friends. Buyong arrogantly told everyone that Chanae was just one of his many mobile ATMs. At the height of his popularity, Buyong had up to 10 different ATMs. Chanae stood in a corner, choking back tears. It turned out their relationship was just a figment of her imagination. She was just a joke in someone else's eyes. Their love wilted, leaving Chanae heartbroken and exposing Buyong online. She revealed a series of evidence proving that Buyong smoked and drank underage. He borrowed money from friends but didn't repay. She wanted to expose his true nature. Buyong's scandal immediately caused a stir in the public. Because of the negative impact on the band, Buyong had to leave the group at the peak of his career. After being kicked out of the music group, Buyong's life became even more miserable than ever. Finally, Chanae realized the huge advantage of having a beautiful appearance. Years later, Chanae decided to undergo full-face cosmetic surgery. After plastic surgery, Chanae had an almost perfect face. While part-time at a supermarket, Chanae coincidentally met Buyong again. After losing the fame of being a celebrity, Buyong fell to the bottom of society. Chanae revealed her true identity to him. Buyong was shocked to find out that the beautiful woman standing before him was the ugly girl he once considered a mobile ATM. Buyong was stunned. Partly due to the innate attraction to handsome men ingrained in my blood, partly out of guilt for disrupting Buyong's life, Chanae decided to bring Buyong home to live under one roof. To support her boyfriend, Chanae took on extra work at a nightclub. With her beautiful face, fiery figure, and seductive dance moves, Chanae quickly became the star attraction there. Unlike Chanae's hard work, Buyong spent his days at home playing video games, neglecting to find a job or do housework. Not long after, another beautiful girl suddenly appeared in the nightclub. None other than Momi after her plastic surgery. Both women, top beauties at the nightclub, immediately disliked each other upon meeting. Unfortunately for Chanae, Momi quickly stole all her clients. Gradually, Momi took over the position that originally belonged to Chanae. If words couldn't resolve it, then actions would. The two women engaged in a fierce fight, pulling hair and slapping wildly. Amidst the dust of the brawl, Momi's necklace fell off. Chanae temporarily put it in her pocket and casually wore it around her neck. Upon Chanae's disclosure, Kanga immediately showed skepticism. Chanae swore that if she lied, she'd be struck by lightning. She herself was like Mrs. Kanga, she also wanted to kill Momi. Hearing this, Kanga temporarily placed her trust in Chanae to go to the nightclub and inquire about Momi. After asking around, Chanae informed Kanga that Momi had quit her job, but she promised to do her utmost to help Kanga find her. Once again, Kanga placed all her trust in Chanae, completely unaware that despite her age, she was still being manipulated by these cunning youngsters. What Chanae told Kanga was only half of the truth. Indeed, she and Momi met at the nightclub, but they didn't dislike each other at all. From the first time they met, Chanae knew that Momi was her lifelong confidant. In the days that followed, they often performed together like sisters. The lives of these two unfortunate girls were really similar. They both yearned to be beautiful. They both experienced pain and wanted a new life. Because of their empathy for each other's past pain, they became closer and more intimate. In fact, Momi even offered Chanae her valuable necklace. One day, Momi was too sick to go to work at the nightclub. Chanae wanted to take her dear sister to the hospital, but Momi refused. With no other choice, Momi had to tell Chanae about her past as a villain. After learning that Momi had killed someone, Chanae didn't despise her. Instead, she felt even more sorry for her. Chanae burst into tears, embracing her unfortunate friend. From that day on, Chanae promised herself that she would use her life to protect Momi. Actually, on that day, Chanae didn't investigate Momi's whereabouts as she told Kanga. Instead, she warned her colleagues at the nightclub not to disclose Momi's whereabouts to anyone. At this point, Chanae informed Momi that Kanga had come looking for her to seek revenge for her beloved son. She advised Momi to run away as far as possible. But now, Momi had nowhere to go. That night, as Momi walked the streets in a daze, she happened to encounter a young man. The man claimed to be the leader of a club for admirers of the masked girl. After seeing Momi's 100% perfect chest, Teddy was sure that the woman in front of him was the missing masked girl. After being discovered by Teddy, Momi ran away in fear. When she got back to her room, she packed her things to escape. A second later, Chanae came to the door, hoping to escape with Momi. Who would have thought that that night would be Chanae's fateful night? Chanae was fed up with the exhausting life of supporting Byung. But no matter how much she scolded, Byung stubbornly refused to leave. While using Chanae's computer, Byung inadvertently discovered that she was the one who indirectly ruined his life. Now, Byung wants Chanae to compensate him for all the physical and mental damage. Chanae was fed up with her current life. The two women decided to run away together. Before fleeing, they both made a trip back to Chanae's house. Taking advantage of Byung's deep sleep, Chanae quickly packed her belongings. Inadvertently, she woke Byung up. In desperation, Chanae decided to send this man to his final resting place. But human strength has its limits. Without any pity, Byung mercilessly attacked her. In this dire situation, Momi appeared just in time to rescue Chanae. Chanae and Momi joined forces to send Byung to his painful death. At this moment, Kanga called Chanae, but her phone had been off for a long time. Thanks to a woman's sharp intuition, Kanga realized that she had been deceived by Chanae. Now, Teddy messaged Kanga, informing her that he had seen Momi and Chanae together. Realizing she had been deceived, Kanga immediately rushed to find Chanae. She coincidentally caught Chanae and Momi trying to escape to an unknown place. In the cold dark night, the two women kept walking without knowing where they were going. Momi told Chanae that she was pregnant. Perhaps the child was Onam's, whom she had sent away cruelly. But no matter what happens, Momi will give birth to the child. Perhaps the child will be very ugly, but she will never ridicule her child. In her eyes, the child will always be a beautiful and perfect girl. Momi is determined not to let her daughter have an unhappy childhood like hers. Hearing this, Chanae smiled. If they could escape safely, Chanae would definitely help Momi raise the child well. At this point, they drove to the lake shore. The two women planned to throw Byung's body into the lake for the fish to eat. As they turned around, they saw Kanga had followed them there. In front of Mrs. Kanga, both admitted they were Momi, the one who killed Onam. But now, that didn't matter to Kanga, because she decided to take both of them to find their ancestors. Unexpectedly, Kyanga's gun jammed, and no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shoot. Chanae and Momi took advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to overpower Kanga. The next second, a gunshot pierced the silent night. Chanae was unlucky enough to be hit by Kyanga's bullet. Momi rushed in to fight for her life with her. In the fierce struggle between the two, Kanga used her gun to clamp tightly around Momi's neck. As Momi faced her end, Chun-Ae summoned her last strength to knock Kyungja unconscious with a rock. She then collapsed into the arms of her dearest friend. Momi hugged Chun-Ae's cold lifeless body and cried out in desperation. She couldn't understand why things had turned out so terribly. Why did tragic fates have to end so soon? After Chun-Ae took her last breath, Momi pushed the car containing Chun-Ae and Kyungja into the lake. She then disappeared to a place where no one knew, living a secluded life away from the world. After giving birth, Momi took her baby to her birth mother's doorstep, begging her to care for the child. She left the baby at the door and walked away, heartbroken. In the end, Momi chose to surrender herself and accept all punishment for her mistakes. The day she was arrested, reporters swarmed around, and all eyes were on Momi. For Momi, this moment felt like her own hallucination. The crowd surrounded her, and flashing lights kept flashing. It was like a stage set just for her. Finally, Momi could fulfill her wish to become famous. In court, Momi honestly admitted all her wrongdoings. During this time, Momi became the hot topic of discussion for everyone. People were especially interested in her daily life. Momi's arrest outfit became a new fashion trend among young people. Even what she ordered during interrogation intrigued people. Plastic surgeons took the opportunity to compare Momi's before and after surgery images to advertise their clinics. They analyzed in detail the parts Momi had undergone surgery on. Basically, she had completely rebuilt her face. Momi had killed too many people. Her heinous crimes left people fearful and anxious for a long time. In the end, Momi was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Since the day Momi left her daughter at her birth mother's doorstep, she never returned there again. Little Mo grew up carefree and innocent with her grandmother. Since childhood, Mo knew how to dress and apply makeup. Seeing this, her grandmother couldn't help but shake her head in disapproval. Like mother, like daughter. Grandma often scolded Mo for being exactly like her mother, but she never told the girl who her mother was. The first time Mo heard about her mother was from her classmates' mothers. The news about Mo's mother being the masked girl spread everywhere. Since then, parents forbade their children from associating with Mo. Innocent children didn't know anything, so Mo went online to search for information about the masked girl. There were many articles about her mother on the internet. Gradually, Mo developed delusions about her mother. She would imitate her mother wearing a mask and dancing wildly. Seeing this, her grandmother kicked Mo out of the house. Mo stood outside crying, begging her grandmother to open the door. Exhausted from shouting, she sat down by the door to rest for a bit. The rain poured outside. Finally, her grandmother relented and carried the feverish Mo into the house to care for her. The rumor about Mo's mother being a murderer spread quickly. Mo was often ridiculed by other children because of it. Eventually, Mo decided to find the child who had spread the rumor to teach them a lesson. Mo's outburst of anger became a threat to her classmates. Due to complaints, Mo's grandmother transferred her to another school. But no matter where they went, people would soon find out Mo's background. Perhaps someone deliberately spread malicious rumors to harm Mo. Mo angrily fought anyone who dared to ridicule her. As expected, Mo was expelled from school time and time again. To prevent Mo from being sent to a juvenile detention center, her grandmother had to deal with the consequences of her granddaughter's actions countless times. This time, Mo transferred to a new school again. Sitting beside her was a girl named Yi-chun. For some reason, nobody in the class bothered to play with Yi-chun. She always tried to fit in with her peers, always tried to engage with everyone. Yi-chun hoped that people would let her join in. But cold, indifferent looks and nasty insults drove her away every time. Seeing Mo also lonely, Yi-chun took the initiative to talk to her. But Mo had experienced too many terrible things about friendship from childhood to adulthood, so now Mo didn't make friends with anyone anymore. Yi-chun tried to engage, but Mo ignored her. Mo seemed cold and distant, but she had a very warm heart. Seeing Yi-chun being bullied by some girls in a deserted place, Mo deliberately made noise to attract attention. She intentionally mocked those girls in front of everyone. Then Mo smashed a glass pane and threatened the girls in front of her. Although she acted fierce, once Mo threatened them, the girls fled. After the incident, Yi-chun stuck to Mo like a hungry tick, and the two children gradually became friends. Although they became friends, Yi-chun still felt that Mo was wary of her. Mo never talked about her personal life to Yi-chun. To coax Mo into revealing her secrets, Yi-chun proactively disclosed her own hidden secret. Yi-chun wanted to harm her mother just because her mother wouldn't let her keep a stray cat she found on the street. Because her mother insisted on stopping her, Yi-chun had to abandon the cat. Perhaps that poor cat is no longer alive. Because of this, Yi-chun always resented her mother. Seeing that Mo didn't take the bait, Yi-chun continued to share her grievances. Every time Yi-chun's father got drunk, he would mercilessly beat her mother. Once, Yi-chun almost used a knife to kill her father. Yi-chun was talking when it suddenly started raining, so the two girls ran to the shelter of the stairs. After Yi-chun's heartfelt confession, Miyamo finally asked about her story. Yi-chun admitted that her current mother was just a stepmother. Seeing Yi-chun's sincerity, Miyamo also told her the truth about her own background. Miyamo's mother is currently in prison. Since birth, Miyamo has never seen her father's face. Feeling sad and sorrowful for Miyamo, Yi-chun leaned over and hugged Miyamo. She felt that Miyamo was a very special person. When Yi-chun got home, her father called her to eat her favorite grilled meat. It seems Yi-chun's father wasn't as bad as she had described. Back in her bedroom, Yi-chun began to lie to Miyamo again. Yi-chun deliberately said that her father beat her mother after getting drunk. She felt lucky to have Miyamo by her side. Miyamo was the motivation for Yi-chun to keep going. Innocently, Miyamo believed Yi-chun without any doubt. After revealing all their secrets, the two girls became even closer. Just being together, they could laugh and talk all day without getting bored. Yi-chun's clumsy and dirty tricks finally succeeded beyond her expectations. After getting her first friend in life, Miyamo gradually let go of her guard. She told Yi-chun that her mother was in prison for murder. This was Miyamo's biggest secret. Hearing this, Yi-chun was shocked but still tried to comfort Miyamo's tragic fate. At home, curiosity drove Yi-chun to search for information about the famous Korean female murderer. After investigating, Yi-chun discovered that Miyamo was the daughter of the masked woman. Only then did Yi-chun understand why Miyamo always wanted to leave home to find a deserted place to live. But to leave home, the two girls needed a lot of money. To help Miyamo realize her dream, Yi-chun decided to secretly sell her little sister's walker. But the money from selling the walker wasn't much. Yi-chun went to the elementary school gate to sell the famous person's autograph album she had collected for so long. Unexpectedly, this scene was seen by the group of mean girls passing by the gate. They mocked Yi-chun for tricking elementary students into spending money. Among them was a girl who hated Yi-chun because she had a talent for lying shamelessly. In elementary school, Yi-chun often embellished stories and spread gossip about classmates everywhere. When the girl was about to teach Yi-chun a lesson, Yi-chun suddenly yelled, "Do you know who I am? If you don't, then forget it. But you must know who Miyamo's best friend's mother is." At this time, Miyamo was intentionally stealing someone else's computer to sell for money. But she hadn't run far before being caught by the cafe staff. Upon receiving the police report, her grandmother angrily slapped Miyamo hard. Furious, she cursed at Miyamo and kicked her out of the house. Miyamo, angry, ran out of the police station. This time she wanted to go far away and never return to that hateful house. Thinking so, Miyamo immediately called Yi-chun to ask if she could spend the night. Yi-chun again said that her house was in chaos because her father had just gotten drunk. Right now, she couldn't have Miyamo come over to stay. With no other choice, Miyamo decided to break into the school to spend the night. But Miyamo's worst fear came true. The next morning while washing her face, Miyamo suddenly heard two classmates discussing her being the daughter of the masked girl. Panic-stricken, Miyamo rushed out of the school. Not seeing Miyamo in class, and since Miyamo didn't return home all night, her grandmother went to the school to look for her. Yi-chun worriedly wondered where her closest friend could be. After school, Yi-chun ran everywhere searching for Miyamo. On the way, Yi-chun accidentally bumped into her returning family. The whole family happily walked home together to eat Yi-chun's favorite fried chicken. Miyamo, hiding in a corner, inadvertently saw the happy scene of Yi-chun's family. The scene before her eyes made Miyamo feel deeply betrayed. Immediately after, she called Yi-chun, arranging to meet and talk about it. Yi-chun rushed to the agreed place. Miyamo's eyes were filled with hatred as she glared at Yi-chun. Miyamo blamed Yi-chun for betraying her by revealing her secret to the whole school. After speaking, Miyamo pushed Yi-chun to the ground and kept hitting her. Watching the two best friends fighting, Kyungja smiled with satisfaction from a distance. It turns out Kyungja was still alive and well. When Momi locked Kyungja in the car and pushed it into the lake, she regained consciousness. Using a gun she found in the back seat, she tried to break the car door. After narrowly escaping death, Kyungja opted for complete plastic surgery to change her appearance. After successful cosmetic surgery, she tried to find news about Momi everywhere. After a year of searching, Kyungja accidentally saw on TV that Momi had been arrested. Knowing that her enemy had been dealt with by the law, Kyungja's burning hatred somewhat subsided. But when she saw Miyamo's face, the resentment in Kyungja's heart resurfaced. Kyungja opened a spicy rice cake stand outside Miyamo's school. Wherever Miyamo transferred, Kyungja moved her stand there, often inviting Miyamo to eat delicious food. Because of this, Miyamo gradually let her guard down with this unfamiliar woman. Every time she saw Miyamo, the fire of hatred in Kyungja's heart flared up. Kyungja intentionally disclosed to anyone who came to her food cart that Miyamo's mother was the masked girl. In other words, Miyamo's mother was a ruthless murderer. After seeing her friends avoid her, Miyamo ran to Kyungja's food cart, sadly recounting her woes. Kyungja seized the opportunity to corrupt Miyamo. If anyone bullies you, teach them a memorable lesson. Just give them a good beating, and they won't dare to bully you again. The result was obvious. Mo was expelled by the school principal. After being expelled, Mo angrily ran to tell Kyungja. She even gave Kyungja her new address, hoping she could move her food cart there with her. Seeing Mo in such distress, Kyungja's anger was still not appeased. She decided to inform the media that Mo was the biological daughter of the masked girl. When Yi-chan was bullied by her friends, she really wanted to reveal Mo's true identity to shame those arrogant kids. But fearing Mo would be hurt, in her most difficult times, Yi-chan decided not to betray her friends. After Yi-chan left, Kyungja suddenly appeared behind the bullying girls. She spread the news about Mo's mother being the masked girl to the entire school. Successfully dividing the beautiful friendship of the two children, Kyungja laughed smugly and left. To prepare for this revenge, Kyungja had spent more than 10 years of her life. More than 10 years ago, after killing Onam, Momi was sent to prison to serve her sentence. After putting on her prisoner's uniform, Momi began her life in prison. When Momi first entered prison, her fellow inmates eagerly asked about her cosmetic surgery. Then she loudly told the other curious inmates that except for her breasts, everything else was altered. The female inmates who coveted beauty around Momi exchanged gossip. They clamored for Momi to introduce them to a cosmetic surgeon. Everyone hoped to one day become as beautiful as Momi. As everyone was laughing and chatting happily, a notorious figure of the prison approached. Seeing her approach, the female inmates scattered in all directions, no one daring to stay and chat anymore. It turns out Eun-suk is the queen bee of this prison. Eun-suk knows many politicians and the most famous businessmen in Korea. So her influence is immense, even the guards have to gauge Eun-suk's mood to survive. Eun-suk was imprisoned for hiring someone to kill her ex-husband and his lover. While Momi was still listening attentively to Eun-suk's sisters gossiping, Eun-suk suddenly called her over. As Momi approached, Eun-suk slapped her hard. Eun-suk yelled and cursed Momi terribly because her beautiful appearance reminded her of her husband stealing seductive rival. She warned Momi not to flaunt herself in front of her, which irritated her greatly. Eun-suk didn't know that Momi wasn't one to mess with. Upon hearing Eun-suk's decree, Momi shared her food with female inmates who weren't given rice. Momi's act of solidarity attracted the attention of Eun-suk and her cronies. Soon after, Eun-suk's underlings came looking for trouble with Momi. Shortly after, Eun-suk's subordinates arrived to confront Momi. They mocked Momi, insinuating that her beauty today was solely due to cosmetic surgery. But Momi wasn't one to be trifled with either. She immediately used her martial arts skills to subdue Eun-suk's subordinates. The four girls got into a wild fight. Momi got beaten up and thrown into solitary confinement, while Eun-suk's girls acted as if nothing had occurred. But Momi wasn't one to be bullied easily. In terms of resilience, she ranked at the top as well. Time and again, she relentlessly beat up Eun-suk's arrogant minions. Momi was locked up in solitary confinement again, but as soon as she was let out, she sought out the most arrogant lackey of Eun-suk and taught her a lesson. The more she fought, the fiercer Momi became, attacking Eun-suk's minions right after each release from solitary. Eventually, Eun-suk's minions would tremble and flee at the mere sight of Momi. It was only then that Eun-suk realized the extent of Momi's ruthlessness. Eun-suk took the initiative to reconcile, promising to let bygones be bygones. Hearing Eun-suk's words, Momi finally relented. After this incident, Momi also had a certain position in the prison. Time flew by like a downhill runaway car. By now, Momi had reached middle age in the prison. Today, there's a new female prisoner in the jail. The warden asked her what crime landed her there. The girl calmly said she severed her boyfriend's penis because he dared to cheat on her. What's even more surprising is that this girl is an avid fan of the masked girl. She admires Momi's story of dismembering Onam and burying him in pieces all over. She laments not being able to experience sending someone to the afterlife at her age. Momi basically ignores the girl with the two-tone hair sitting in front of her. After returning to her cell, Momi unexpectedly receives her first letter since being imprisoned. The letter includes an article about the masked girl's daughter frequently assaulting friends. There's also a piece of paper with the words, "It's time you felt the pain of seeing your daughter's life ruined." After reading the article, Momi stays awake all night, unable to close her eyes. She blames herself for being so wicked that her daughter has to suffer the consequences. Momi accuses the heavens of being unjust to Mo. Because of this, Momi decides to escape. The next day, while weaving, Momi stitches leftover pieces together. With the help of a fellow inmate, Momi successfully hides the stitched fabric under her waistband. While pretending to go to the bathroom, Momi throws the stitched fabric into an unnoticed corner. Immediately after, aided by her cellmate's superb acting skills, the laundry supervisor quietly rushes to a secluded corner. She ties the stitched fabric to a beam and throws it over to the other side of the wall. Momi intends to climb up the fabric to escape, but halfway up, the fabric breaks. Hearing the alarm, the guards rush in to capture her. Momi's first attempt at escaping fails miserably, and she's sentenced to a month in solitary confinement. During her time in solitary confinement, the devoutly religious warden brings her a Bible. She wants Momi to repent after reading the entire Bible. After learning that the warden is a devout Christian, Momi devises a daring plan. A month later, the warden visits Momi's solitary cell. What she sees is Momi kneeling under the only ray of light in the cell, praying like a devout Christian. After being returned to her cell, Momi wears a saintly smile. She even claims to be a child of God. After this confinement, Momi seems entirely different. At this point, Momi has completely become a devout Christian. Her whole body emits a radiant light bestowed by God. In the afternoon, Momi hears Eun-suk's daughter urgently needs a kidney donation. Coincidentally, Momi's blood type matches Eun-suk's daughter's. She proactively approaches Eun-suk to donate a kidney. Eun-suk emotionally embraces her. The next day, the warden invites volunteer educators to work on the prisoner's character. Unexpectedly, Mrs. Kyungja appears, mockingly asking Momi why she didn't respond to her letter. "Why didn't you answer my letter, Momi?" Then, she whispers to Momi that she will make her taste the pain of losing a child. Hearing this, Momi goes berserk and rushes to push Kyungja over. In a rare moment of acting, Kyungja immediately falls to the ground in feigned agony. The guards rush in and forcefully restrain Momi to the ground. Before leaving the prison, Kyungja reveals a sinister smile. This is just one of the revenge plans she has prepared for Momi. After leaving the prison, Mo continues to live with Kyungja. The girl plans to stay with Kyungja from now on, the only one who treats her fairly. Kyungja chuckles inwardly. She pretends to suggest that Mo call her grandmother to relieve her worries. But Mo must never tell her grandmother where she is, or she will be punished. Innocently, Mo calls her grandmother to reassure her safety as instructed by Kyungja. At that moment, her grandmother is at the police station, asking about her granddaughter. She's genuinely worried about Mo's safety. But Mo tells her grandmother not to look for her or call the police. Mo believes her grandmother hates her, so she will never come back. After saying this, Mo immediately hangs up, and her grandmother anxiously calls back. But at this moment, she receives a call from Momi. Momi is extremely worried about her daughter's life, so she asks Eun-suk for help. She successfully obtains her mother's phone number through Eun-suk's extensive connections. Momi asks for news about Mo, but her mother lies that Mo is fine. Then she tells Momi not to call again in the future. Momi, worried, tries to call her mother one more time. Just then, the scheduled time alarm goes off. Momi abruptly hangs up the phone and turns away. Seeing this, Eun-suk gives Momi Mo's school phone number. She comforts Momi, telling her not to worry too much. After getting the phone number, Momi immediately calls to inquire about Mo. After connecting, they ask Momi to wait while they call Mo to answer the phone. When the alarm rings, a little girl's voice suddenly comes through. Momi still can't talk to her daughter. At this moment, the man on the other end also turns off the timer. He then pays the girl who impersonated Mo. It turns out that everything was orchestrated by Eun-suk herself. Eun-suk instructed a look-alike of Mo to stand outside the school gate and take a picture. Then she gave Momi the photo to reassure her about donating a kidney to her daughter. That night, Momi tears up the photo Eun-suk gave her. Early the next morning, Momi is rushed to the hospital for the transplant surgery. Upon arrival, Momi asks the warden to bring her a Bible. She wants to take this opportunity to remove another guard. Then, Momi pretends to need to use the bathroom. While the guard unlocks number 8 shackle, Momi suddenly knocks him out with the toilet lid. After subduing the guard, Momi successfully escapes through the window. Due to the rush, Momi is hit by a car. She tries to endure the physical pain and gets into the car that hit her to go save her daughter. At this time, Kyungja is buying charcoal and rope at the grocery store. She secretly puts drugs in the food and calls Mo to come eat. Suddenly, Mo brings a homemade birthday cake to congratulate Kyungja. She wishes Kyungja a long and happy life. Mo has long regarded Kyungja as her grandmother. At this moment, Kyungja is torn with conflicting thoughts. She's touched by Mo's innocence but can't help seeking revenge for her son. Seeing Mo eat the drugged soup, Kyungja feels a twinge of guilt. Momi's sixth sense tells her that her daughter is in danger. Momi immediately calls her mother to inform her that Kyungja wants to harm Mo. Unexpectedly, her grandmother also realizes that Kyungja is a problem. She's on her way to rescue her granddaughter. Yi-chan had previously investigated that the old man selling rice cakes outside the school gate was spreading malicious rumors about Mo. Yi-chan couldn't understand why the old man selling rice cakes, who seemed to care for Mo, would harm her. Yi-chan immediately sought her grandmother's help. The two decided to go together to Kyungja's house to find out the truth. After informing Mo of Kyungja's address, her grandmother immediately called the police. At this point, Mo had woken up from her stupor. She found herself locked in Kyungja's secret basement, with Kyungja filming on the opposite side. She intended to record the entire process of killing Mo and send it to her mother. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Upon receiving the report, the police immediately arrived at Kyungja's house. Kyungja tried to compose herself before calmly inviting the police inside. If foolishness were a crime, this police officer deserved a life sentence. He searched the entire house but found no secret basement. He thought it was just a prank and hastily left. Meanwhile, Momi had raced through the vast forest, nearing Kyungja's house. Her grandmother arrived at Kyungja's house just ahead of her and went inside to search for her granddaughter without hesitation. Kyungja heard a strange noise and hurriedly went upstairs to check. Seeing Kyungja, her grandmother begged her to spare Mo because children are innocent. Kyungja's son was innocent too, but Momi had sent him to his death without mercy. As the two grandmothers argued, Yi-chun arrived. Her grandmother used all her strength to hold on to Kyungja's leg so Yi-chun could run down to the basement to rescue Mo. Yi-chun rushed downstairs. Seeing the basement filled with smoke, Yi-chun quickly extinguished the blazing stove. Then she tried to wake up the unconscious Mo. Yi-chun was extremely worried about her friend's safety but also apologized to Mo. She affirmed that she had never revealed Mo's secret to anyone else. She never intentionally lied to Mo either. Finally, the two girls reconciled their friendship, as close as ever. It was then that Yi-chun remembered she hadn't untied Mo. Outside the secret room, her grandmother still clung to Kyungja's leg. Kyungja picked up a pair of scissors from the floor and stabbed her grandmother in the leg. In the midst of the chaos, Momi appeared and subdued Kyungja. Seeing her mother safe and sound, Momi quickly rushed down to the basement to save her daughter. As the three prepared to leave, Kyungja suddenly appeared with a knife in hand. Momi immediately realized that Kyungja had already killed her mother. She tried to protect the two children standing behind her. Taking advantage of Kyungja's distraction, Momi immediately rushed forward to restrain her, keeping her occupied so the children could escape. Shortly after, Momi staggered out of the secret basement, taking the two children away from Kyungja's house. At this point, the police arrived and took Momi back to prison. Kyungja staggered out as well. Seeing the police surrounding the entire house, she showed no fear. Without hesitation, Kyungja aimed the gun at Mo. After taking aim, she immediately pulled the trigger. Momi rushed forward to shield her daughter from the bullet. She ultimately fell into her daughter's arms. Shortly after, Mo's life returned to peace. Mo was taken in as an adopted child by Yi-chun's parents. She also returned to school. After going through many valuable lessons, the fire of hatred in Mo's heart finally cooled. While cleaning up, Mo accidentally found a videotape of her mother. In front of the camera, Momi spoke of her dream of becoming famous and loved by everyone. Hearing her mother's dream, Mo shed tears. Alright, the movie ends here. Please take 3 seconds to subscribe to our channel to support us. Thank you for watching our channel. See you again in the next movie.